Sit a while and relax.
I'm intrigued by trying to see how far this one can go. I could try some other ones too. That's what you have to have the flexibility to be able to do. Right, like have more than one themed deck, even if you're going to try to do it like this. Seems like it kind of bugged out there. That last one, last time against the Druid to end was amazing. I don't know what happened. I might have to redo it or... Oh, not. In fact, I'm close to that 1,000 mark, so that makes it even more fun to work towards something like that. It's just so insane to actually get... Like, imagine keeping up and having every single card in existence now. Right? Like, even minus gold and stuff and special, whatever, aesthetic stuff. Just, you could have if you, you know, just play all day every day, but it's just not realistic that anybody would do that without buying stuff. I was almost borderline like that at the time just because of how much I did arena and whatever, but as you want to mulligan everything except for the 2 key cards. The main one that you want is the hero, obviously. And they made way too many of these hero portraits too, but at least they give them voice lines, unlike Magic or whatever else. It's just a little S.
I see you've brought guests.
Pray for you.
I will crush you.
So everybody's using this 40 HP base thing, which seems totally bullshit. Like, it's just one of those things that doesn't have seemingly a downside. Right? Like, everybody will just use it. That's how you know power creep versus no power creep. I could obviously just craft it or something, but it just seems dumb. So what do you even get for 1,000? I think you get the... You get the, what do you call it? The corrupted Garrosh or whatever? I do kind of want that now that I think about it. Because I've won, obviously, over 1,000 as Warrior over the years, but it doesn't count because this format didn't exist at the time, right? And obviously I had a different account. But no, I don't think it counted up until the thing came out. Because then a lot of people would have had it just as... Well, maybe not a lot, but some people would have had it to begin with. It's on day 1. I guess 1,000 isn't even that many, but for one particular class, I guess it is. So, presenting decent threats on the board. I don't know if it's worth it to keep committing. Like, if he's not going to deal with this... He's only healed 15. You can't really slow pace him because he's just going to keep healing through it. I don't want to overcommit though. It's like if he's not even going to summon anything. Yeah, see, that would have just destroyed whatever I was going to do. Reduce the cost of max, okay. I'll do that. Oh, I should have hit him with that. It's almost like the strategy sometimes against this is just not to hit him at all. Wasn't one of the quest goals like to give your hero 40 health? Like you get, oh, I forget the name of it. One of those stone chicks from like Ulduar. And the whole goal of it was to set your hero's health to 40. So you just start with 40 now. I guess the difference is that would act as a heal too. So you could be about to die and you use it like Reno. I forget what that was, but it just makes it feel trivial that you can do it like this. You do another one here. If you've recovered health, discover a spell. Yeah, so this obelisk thing can be very annoying. Restore 15 health. Restore 3 health if you target a minion, give a +3/+3. Deal 6 damage to this minion, then he's going to heal it. Or, well, maybe he's not using such a try-hard busted thing, but it's hard to tell sometimes. Would it be worth it to do that? It probably wouldn't be, but just for tempo's sake. Or actually, I don't even have to do it. It wouldn't benefit me that much. You just do this. It's just too slow what I'm doing. I mean, I do have quite a few in there. I have to do a better job keeping track of that. So there's at least a few of them still in there. Maybe 2 or 3. So if I summon like the 7/7 that summons 1/1s for each bomb you have in their deck, or 2 for each bomb. You should know you have like 4 to 6. Okay, that resurrect thing is very annoying. Like really, I just don't have the means to deal with stuff like that. That's the problem with this. I just can't do anything about it. So when it dies, you summon 2 copies back.
I will pray for you.
Which both would have max HP, or would they have... Yeah, because it's only a battle cry that... Okay, I think I'm just dead.
You have my thanks.
So many win can... There's nothing I could have done. I mean... I guess I could have executed it. It's just stupid. There were so many things he had going for him that time. Good thing I can't even lose stars. Yeah, this isn't going to work at all, but... At least at this low level, you would think you should be able to scrape a few out. It's not even so much that you lose. Like, you don't expect to win every single one, but... That just feels so hopeless and stupid. Like, you had no chance. He didn't even get his quest condition. He didn't even get... kind of cycle through his deck. There's just nothing I have that can deal with that effect. Like, you need a silence or something to deal with the death rattle and the whole 512 even. I can't deal with. I could have executed it, but how did I know he had that? And then if I did execute it, he'd summon like Ysera or something, and then I'm just screwed anyway. You would have said, oh, you should have saved it for that.
Greetings.
At least I have the golden hero. Is not too bad. So maybe everybody thinks I'm a tryhard then because of that.
Almost out of time.
Not even level 60 on some of these classes. I don't know how that happened. I guess just because I only do these theme decks now. But obviously I had that before. Swap the bottom. Swap your hand with the bottom of your deck. See, that's just a fun card that doesn't maybe even matter. Right? He doesn't know whether that's going to be good or not. So you just have to keep up on tempo sometimes. It's not even about the bomb condition in this case. That's why it's sometimes better to play aggro stuff, because the control stuff can just take forever and you know you're going to lose, but you still sit it out. Or you could just resign as soon as you see what kind of deck it is and you're like, I just can't beat that. Like what that priest had is just not going to go over well 99% of the time. Because they're almost guaranteed to get what they want because they can stall the game out so much. You have to use some crazy power creep type. Oh shit. Yeah, I guess you kind of can just do this. Keep the pressure on. You have to adjust your win condition based on who you're playing against. That's not going to matter, but this could matter if I equalize it. Or you don't want to just get destroyed. He's probably not going to trade it, but at least he has to deal with mine, which he pretty easily could do. So I need some kind of warpath or something, anything. Warpath, brawl. Okay, but I can't even complain about that because I don't have the means to use it yet. So 10, 13, I could just die here. But if I can just make it till next turn. The problem is I'll do that and then he'll still be able to summon more stuff. It's going to get me back to square one. So I'm going to 1-1. Wait, what? It's still not enough. So that just is like brawl protection.
Easy prey.
I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, he just has to not have something strong survive. Either the 1-1 or let me have the... Okay, a 2-3 is maybe acceptable. So the problem is he'll recover without missing a beat and just do it again. And I don't have any defensive stuff still. So I think I'm just done regardless. That didn't help me at all. It's like the only defensive thing would be the 7 cost, which is my hero. That's the big weakness of this sometimes. You rely on that completely for any defensive purposes. It's not even an aggro deck, but it's just offensive minded. There's nothing I can do. I mean, I get Warpath. I still can't do anything. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd still rather go against that than the previous one, but I don't know how many of those are really new Murloc cards. A lot of them I don't recognize anyway. That's too bad. Like, the way I beat that Druid even was so ridiculous because he filled the board so many times and somehow I withstood it. You really need the Dr. Boom thing. But this is a different kind of Nemsy than the one I've seen before. So if you think it's going to be aggro, you could keep Dry Whisker just to gain some armor. That might have helped me there. But I'm really digging for one of my main 2 cards, and I'm not getting them any time. Even the Oracles are questionable, but they do kind of synergize with, once you get their deck to a low amount and you know it's filled with bombs, you just keep forcing them to draw. That could be very valuable. So this is pretty bad as well. This is just too expensive to even be viable, but that's the whole point of the deck. Like, it's a cool concept, but it's, again, cool concepts are never viable because you just got to go with whatever's current meta power creep bullshit. Everybody's using that. I mean, it's so stupid. I don't even know what the 40 card thing means either. Oh, maybe it allows you to build a deck that would otherwise not be buildable because... Or maybe that's considered a downside because you don't want 40 cards. So maybe it's not as good as I think, but clearly it must be because everybody's using it. So, unless we get an AFK win, I don't think I'm going to get anything out of this. Look at how long it would take to rank up. Even if I was winning all of these, I guess you have a whole month to do it, but... Imagine if I did get to Legend with a deck like this, though. I mean, I'd have to make a ton of alterations, and then it wouldn't even resemble what it originally was meant to do. I bet I could do it, but I'd have to really think through what I want to do. Like, you're going to have to add a bunch of cards. Maybe I'll add this one just so that I can add 10 more that have nothing to do. But then you're going to just stretch it out more. Yeah, I feel like that's always worse, not better, to have more cards. Because whatever really good cards you want to get to are going to be harder to reach. So yeah, it's arguably bad. I guess the Warlock's the one class that maybe could justify it because of their hero power, but even then. Okay, maybe they're not using a very good deck. What a novel idea that would be. But how does everybody just have this card? Or more to the point, why is everybody just using this? It seems like a horrible idea. You just start at 40 health. Which in the big picture might not even make that much of a difference, but... Right, because usually when you're going to win, you're going to win. You're going to win on the board, and then 10 health isn't going to save you. 7/7. 4 mana 7/7. Summon a fiend equal to your hand size. Seems kind of busted. Give her even more cards. Why not? Make it easier. Make it seem like an aggro deck, even though it's not at all. It'd be harder, I guess, for her to draw the bombs because she has more cards in her deck, but because you almost want to get them to the point where they deck out. Either they go in fatigue or they draw all your bombs at will because you know they have nothing else. Are you really going to hit my face with that? You really think that's prudent? Okay, so that's good. At least it gives me something. So you have 8. I'm going to do this again. I could kill this now.
Too many cards.
That's good. We burned Jiraxis. Now the win condition is not to hit face, so there's no reason to do it. After you discard, after you draw 4 cards, reduce the card. Wait, what? After you draw 4, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. You're just trying to make your hand bricked, and obviously the Jiraxis thing was very lucky. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, add a random spell with the same cost to your hand. So all I want to do is get to a turn 7 thing here, and that can be very valuable. Whenever you can discover the mechs, that can be game-changing too, because you can get whatever you need for the situation, which kind of makes me want to do the Rexar thing again, which is the whole point of that, like to... Okay, I might have to do that this turn at least. 3-2, Imp Familiar. I just love some of the ideas of combining these cards throughout multiple years and multiple expansions, even ones which aren't considered obviously standard now, because that means nothing to me what's standard now. That's such an arbitrary, stupid way. That's just a way to justify, like, oh, everything's busted and imbalanced, so just use power creep against power creep and that's it. Shuffle 3 worthless imps into your deck. Yeah, that's not really a worthy use of it. You didn't get a whole lot out of it. You could have just... you would have had to sack both, I guess. I don't get what this means. After you draw 4 cards, lose 1 durability. So it does it twice. But you don't have to draw 4 cards at once. You just have to draw them, period. Started with 40 health and you're already lower than me. So I could do Brawl, but I don't necessarily know if I will... Kind of too much on the board. You're gonna get a spell equal to the cost, which might not matter that much. Give your minions +1/+1. Why wouldn't you do that before you hit me then? I guess I'll assume I can survive this and then I can always deal with it next time. 5-4. So I'll get one that actually keeps it alive for whatever reason. So we'll take 8 and then I can start charging stuff into them, maybe. Okay, that's not a big deal. Or I could just Brawl now. Right, since they maybe assume that I don't have a way to deal with it. With a big board, because I would have done it last turn if I was a normal person. Pretty low, honestly, but you can't rely on them drawing too many of those because still they have so much in their deck. So yeah, keep stacking up the board. I can Brawl 3 colossal minions on the bottom of your deck. There's a lot of stuff that seems to relate to the bottom. When summon spawns X additional appendages. He's not overcommitting quite enough to justify. In fact, my health isn't even that concerning, so I'll just do that. A lot of sticky stuff, of course. The N'Zoth play is looking good. He's almost been the MVP lately, which is not really the point of this, but I could see flipping that another way. Just summon all this crazy stuff like the mechs that summon stuff when they die, and then use that to charge them in, and then you get something back too. So you can clear their board and fill your board at the same time. You hit that, and now you get something back, which hopefully is decent. Not bad. Restore both heroes to full health. I wouldn't want to do that at all. Right, you bring her back to 40. So what is this thing? Why do you get to... I guess it's not a legendary or anything, so you can have more than one.
I will not return.
Summon 3 1/1s for your opponents. That doesn't seem very good. What? Just because it's a 3/7 for 3? You could charge this, or you could summon some, or you could spawn something and charge it. Whenever your opponent plays a card, remove the 3. Okay, I wouldn't want to do that. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion, so you could... I kind of don't mind that one. Forget about the healing. You can charge this in. And then whatever you deal 4 to works out.
This ends now.
I guess you could just guarantee the take. Oh, this is actually a charge too. You should always wait to see what you get out of it. So you're down to 12. You probably still have like another bomb or two in there. And N'Zoth is looking pretty juicy because I have played a couple of the piloted shredders and stuff. So even the legendary one. But let's wait. Like, you gotta keep... They're gonna expect me to have a play like that, so let's just keep dragging it out. This was a pretty good pickup. 8 damage among all enemies. Deal 1 more. Endlessly infuse. Upgraded by what? I can't read it. In hand after X friendly minions die. You can do this, and then you should have a number of these that you can summon. 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, all you need is 1 tick of the bomb to hit this. I don't even care about the health aspect, but you could just kill that. Right, so the healing the both heroes to full wouldn't have hurt me that much then. That's why it's so busted lifesteal. Because even in destroying it, you're going to give them so much health. Summon 2 1/1 imps. We can save the N'Zoth plays. Give a friendly minion +1/+1. Or unless they fill their board again, I could justify doing it. But that's still not too threatening. I mean, I guess I could justify doing it now. I certainly could. Alright, I guess I just will. I'm not too happy with the way this went. It doesn't feel like the right way of doing it, but... This will deal 4 to something. So his board is wiped. There's no question about it. You can keep that alive and see how he deals with it. Now, more importantly, if he doesn't kill N'Zoth, I could flip it back, and I could copy it too into my deck. So then I could do the same thing again. Sometimes those little 1/1 bombs can cuck you, though, from getting... Like, if you have too many of those that spawn, they can get in the way of the shredder, so... I still don't know exactly how it determines that. Like, is it the order in which they die, or... I mean, a lot of 1/1s. Doesn't really matter a whole lot to me. You can just sack the 1/1s for the 1/1, like... Do this. It seems like a waste to even worry about those, but... Or we can even keep the tempo and just do that. So just deal with my board however you want, and then I can just do that play yet again. So leaving 3 1/1s could be bad, but... Give a friendly minion +1/+1, repeat for each imp you control. But apparently that doesn't apply to the imps themselves, or... I don't know how that works. Because you should have just been able to do it there. I mean, you're basically just getting presented with lethal, so what are you going to do? Yeah, N'Zoth has shown himself to be a little bit better in this than I realized, which means the Iron Juggernaut is just bad. Because, I mean, I kind of recognize that, but I just like it.
Here comes the boom.
Yeah, that seems more fitting to say at the end of a duel rather than at the beginning. That's not gonna be enough. Oh, maybe you have some crazy spell. Double Soulfire, which you couldn't even guarantee is gonna hit. What do you think you're gonna do now? Why would you hit me in the face if you plan to clear my board? I could do N'Zoth again, and then I could flip it again. Or you could just keep flipping Zola. Well, I'm still gonna get a lot of stuff back. 3 and 1. You realize I could just do that again, right? Like, I'm not even... I don't even care. Like, what are you gonna do about it, dude? Why not do it? Not even a reactive play. You would have to clear my board yet again, which I'm sure she can do, apparently. Oh, wow. Well, if only I'd known that was gonna happen. still have 15 cards left. Bronze level 8. Of course, I wouldn't even be this high if I didn't have the if there wasn't the ability to not lose stars. Highest rank in ranked mode is the legend rank. How does it even show that they work? Like Diamond Legend. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone up in this particular one. I mean, there was still Legend, but it was completely different how they did it. Let's see really how far I can get with it. I mean, I can obviously make alterations. I'm just kind of too lazy to do that. And I also don't want to... Well, first of all, it's free to play, so I would have to do a bunch of arena to get cards and dust and whatever. But more to the point, I don't even know what the newer cards are that might be synergistic with this. Maybe there aren't any that would preserve the core concept, but... You could maybe look at Bran or Thracian. Both of those could be good, just to sort of make some of these combo plays easier.
Garrosh versus Illidan. This ends now. Victory or death.
So, I mean, you could keep this... no, you don't want that, though. If it happens, it happens, but you're really looking for the 7, the hero. Right, or even the Iron Juggernaut, but that hasn't come into play very much at all. And even when it does, it's not like it's been the reason you win. It's just like 10 damage is a lot, though.
I see you brought
Wow, what a unique... This is becoming like the fried liver, where we just see the same thing every game. It's almost like that card is overpowered or something. Or at least people think it is. But yeah, the 40 card deck size could actually come back to bite you. That's one of the few cards that impacts how you build your deck in the first place, like Whizbang the Wonderful, where it changes your actual deck because you can't even build it then, it's just automatic. And in this case, you have to build it for 40 instead of 30. So what if you use those together? I guess Whizbang would just take precedent and override everything else. But then would it still be a 40 card? No, I guess not, because it wouldn't be part of your deck anymore. It just gives... Oh, that is actually a good one to maybe try to do a ladder with, because you wouldn't need the new cards necessarily, because you can just... You know what, why not do this? It's giving him cards too, but I don't know if that's really the prudent thing. It's the sort of thing that I normally just wouldn't hold back on doing. Because, sure, he gets card draw, but so do I, so why do I care? Unless he's just rushing me down too quickly, but it certainly gives him the opportunity to try to do that. Has 2 fewer mana crystals. Wait, since when do you have voice lines on particular cards? I guess they did that just for Demon Hunters? I don't remember that being the case. He just played a spell. That wasn't a minion. So you could certainly do this. Or not. I guess I'll just get it to that threshold. Maybe telegraphing what I'm about to do, but it doesn't really matter. It's like the whole thing with Pegasus, like, oh, he can see into your hand, and so he knows what you're gonna play, but it doesn't matter. Either he has the answer to it or he doesn't. Like, sure, it still makes it easier, but what if he just doesn't have the right card? But he always does, because that's just the nature of how that works. I guess I will do this. I often don't get value out of it, and he's putting up a pretty good tempo so far, so you gotta watch it. Right, if you're playing against a hunter or something, you don't have to worry about being so standoffish with actually playing stuff. What does he do? Give +2/+2 to everything? Or +1/+1? That's 4 HP. I could just summon a 5/5. Now he's gonna get another +1/+1. So that's unfortunate. And he doesn't even have to sack it, but obviously I'd kill it.
Cut right to the chase.
Number 2, 1/1 assistance with taunt. That is very unfortunate. Down to 13 already. What you're gonna look for is You don't want to brawl, but I almost feel like I might not have a choice. Because you can't just keep letting him buff stuff. But you know what? Let's let him, because I don't care. Or, honestly, it might be worth executing it. Just the amount of pressure he's putting on here is kind of ridiculous. I guess I could do that. Make him overdraw, because that certainly is going to hurt him rather than help him. I hate stuff like that just everybody ends up using. That shows you it's just busted. This little 40 health, 40 card thing. So what I'm going to do here is obviously use this. Well, I'd like to, but it depends how imposing his board actually is going to be. What? Lowest health enemy. I thought it said minion. Oh, just enemy period. Okay, so I just have to make this work with some of these charge elements. It might even be better to do that, but I guess I could do it next. Oh, but it's not going to have charge. Only the bombs get charged, not the Blastmaster. Doesn't he look like a mech, though? That's kind of a confusing thing. I get it to not make it too powerful, but... Or maybe he could just be inside of a suit or something. But that would still make you kind of like a mech. Or your highest cost spell. Okay, alright. That's nice. So what you're gonna have to do is just hope that kel'thuzad doesn't come back. If he does, you're just done for. You may as well just concede, honestly. You're just dead. Because he'll resummon every... Okay. I mean, look, dude. He's gonna just... What? Okay, that I don't even feel like is the deck's fault. That's just bullshit. That's probably one of the best things he could have gotten, and then he gets it back from the brawl, too. That's where the internal RNG can be a real kick in the nads. Let's just try to win a couple. Just think about how long this would take. This is why I don't even feel like doing it most of the time. You'd have to do this every day, all day, for like a month. Even if you were using something better. But I wouldn't want to do that either. So Brawl is arguably good to keep just because... Okay, you definitely don't want this. But assuming he's going to play some kind of rush thing, you could obviously justify playing this kind of early game. Just throw stuff on the board to throw him off. So we have 2 AoEs, but it still might not be enough. That's the problem with some of these death rattle stuff that cycles stuff back, or... At the start of your turn, draw a card. The problem with that is I still can't deal with it. Somebody would say, oh, just use Warpath on that, because that's how valuable the card draw is. Or maybe he can protect it now, or buff it or something. I guess that's a pretty logical effect for it, though. I'm surprised it took them that long to actually add this card. You would think that'd be one of the base ones, like Goldshire Footman or something that just... It's actually a bit too strong, too. 2-1 for 1 that also has that effect. It's an amazing turn 1 play, because they're not going to... Unless they have a rush minion that early. They're not going to use removal on it. I guess I just have to deal with that. Draw as much as you want, dude. Nothing I can do. At least summon some other stuff so I could justify using Warpath. Or I can wait till turn 5 and Brawl. This is so stupid, situations like this. Like, maybe I should have used Warpath on it, but... It just seems so bad. I never really thought tracking was that good. Maybe in certain situations, but... Ooh, you'd rather just have a card draw than that. Okay, now at least I could do Warpath, but it's still not going to kill. You have a random mech in your hand. Is he playing Mech Hunter? What is this? Yeah, I guess it's worth it. It'll kill those 2 at least. Maybe seems stupid, but... Almost just waiting for an excuse to use it. To get rid of that stupid peasant. So now he could use Brawl if he thinks that was my only AoE. That was just like one of the unluckiest sequences ever. Not just the fact that the Brawl failed and gave back the exact minion that he wanted, but that he got the exact minion that would save the other minions in kel'thuzad. That was just such a bullshit sequence. After you cast a spell, gain 1 attack until your next turn. Hunters have so many weapons now, it feels like. They never used to have very many at all. Like just maybe 2 or 3. You could do cleave. Or you could just hit this. Or I could have summoned something too. Maybe next turn I can cleave and then do the panda. Of course, that is something that normally you'd want to hold back, but in this kind of matchup, it's probably better not to. Because hold back for what? You're not going to survive to be able to do any sort of fancy combos and stuff. So the best win condition here is just to get the 7 cost and just keep using your armor ability and stuff. Of course, you don't get to choose, but... Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Costs 5 or less, eh? Am I reading that or what? It costed 4 why? I don't get it. Why did it cost 4? Summon a beast that costs 5 or less. So even if I brawl, I'm just going to get hit by the fact that you're going to get 2 2/4s back, so what's the point? I don't even know what caused that to happen. 7 mana, 5/6 with taunt, with that is a beast that summons 2. I don't know if that's really all that balanced or not. What if I just completely ignore it? Probably just gonna die. Even with the weapon, I won't be able to do anything about it. Oh, I guess I should have held back in case. No, it doesn't matter. It's too much. There's nothing I can do. All this stuff just floods the board so extremely. Even with all my death rattles, they pale in comparison to what we're seeing. You could say it's a lucky combo, but I still don't know what reduced the cost of that by so much. In his deck, how do you just do that? He's presenting 10 damage out of 14, so all you need is like a kill command or something pretty basic. We've rarely seen people rope, but I guess at this low level you're not going to see much intensity like that. People aren't really tryhards, but they still have power creeped out decks. I just think that's often the player base's fault too. Like, you're playing in Wild at Bronze 7, so why do you care about using like the best possible thing? Shouldn't you just use something that's kind of fun and themed and this and that? But speaking of people not roping out, even with him doing that, I'm still gonna lose. That's the sad part. Like, there's still nothing I can do. I mean, I'll take it, but I don't deserve that at all. You get the win streak, but you don't lose any stars if you lose. Very one-sided at this point, so you're not going to get very far using this one. You're going to have to change. Even if I combine like all my theme deck ideas, you're still not going to get anywhere. Right, because like certain ones might be better at certain points or in certain matchups, but generally they're all just kind of bad, period.
This ends now. Victory or death.
There's no reason to keep any of these. So that last one really was a loss. I don't know what happened to that guy. We finally get the actual ace card of this whole thing. That is the whole point of it, but it just doesn't work half the time. Like, let's try to set that as the win condition and see how it works. But you're better off using N'Zoth or something else as the win condition. Even Dr. Boom, the hero, is better for that. Just to give you some sort of... Because all the mechs you can discover, you can even discover the Iron Juggernaut from it. So in case yours happens to die or you don't have it yet, that's how good it is. But it's obviously a shot in the dark. That seemed to happen pretty often actually back then, because maybe there just weren't as many mechs in the system, or... So I could do this to try to equalize here. Of course, that's pretty much a guaranteed effect that you can get. So we got both the main cards that I would want. So whenever you get that to start, whether in the first hand or in the first few turns, because it's not like you can use them right away anyway, that's the ideal scenario. So if you lose with that, you just can't make any excuses. If you lose without that, you could say that's the defining factor at least. But, you know, like, oh, you just don't get your Death Knight hero or this or that. Whoever gets it wins, whoever doesn't loses, that kind of thing. So what does that actually do? Start of your next turn, draw a card, reduces cost. Fun and interactive, the thing that you can't do anything about. Draw a card and reduce it by 1. For how much? Only costs 1? That's kind of stupid. Must be a new card. That should at least cost 2, because it's giving you a -1 cost already. So you're getting your free value back, and you're drawing a card for nothing. Choose a fight path and go Dormant, Awaken.
Wash your hands.
Oh, does he rhyme for all of them? Awaken with a bonus to when you complete it. Deal 12 damage randomly spent to enemies in 5 turns. Is that because it's like the plague related thing? I don't know what the other effects are. So you're gonna have to have a pretty full board at that point. Imagine if that's the kill condition, like that could actually be something that Dexter built around. Do that along with Cthulhu. Just way too much unpreventable AoE damage. It would just clear my board, and then it would one-shot me. Or I guess 24-shot me, but in 1 turn. Because that's already committed, so it's not like you have to use any mana to activate it. He's not posing like a very threatening board, but you wouldn't necessarily want to give him more cards, but I guess I will. I don't know what else to do, really. You would think it always evens out because it's giving me stuff too, but just depending on what he's doing. Well, that's going to allow him to still draw 2 more. Because that has built into it to draw another card. Why, is it bad? Is it good? You couldn't just be reacting to the bomb. Draw a Fell spell, reduce the cost by 2. So much stuff in his deck just reduces the cost of everything. Deal 5, doesn't really matter, but the lifesteal. So you could do the Juggernaut, but I see no reason to do it. It's going to be hard to worry about that. For only 3 costs, you're getting 12 damage. Just the fact that it does it so much later doesn't really matter that much. Card of Demise. In 5 turns, I discard my entire hand, but it never lasts even 1 turn after that. Usually. Actually, sometimes it does. At least the tempo in the show isn't as crazy as it would be in real life, but even Pot of Greed is considered busted. Imagine drawing 5 cards and paying no penalty for 5 turns. It should be you draw 5 and you discard it the same turn. Even then it'd still be busted because you're just going for the kill, that means. Draw a Fell spell. And nobody else ever uses that either. Deal 3 damage to a minion. You'll still get something back with hopefully at least 3 attack to take care of this. Or maybe as a spell to deal with it too. 4 and you can only take 1. It's almost like he knew what it was going to be. I do kind of like that one. So it reduces all damage to 1 that you would take. Let's just do this. And that in itself should be the win condition just because it can be so incredibly impactful. Like summoning the Discover. If you could reduce it to just 2 abilities, just give it the Discover a mech and the armor. And obviously the rush is passive. The 1/1s here aren't that good, and the bomb thing isn't that good, the AoE. But of course you can't choose which ones you get. Swap your hero power to deal 4 damage. After 2 uses, swap it back. And he's gonna get the Griffin thing, isn't he? Or is that next turn? Okay, it'll be coming up now, so I should probably fill the board with stuff. But I don't have... You know what? Maybe it's okay to throw the Juggernaut under the bus. Just, I need these to eat up a little bit of this damage, because I can't take that much to the face. It's only going to eat up 4 anyway. That's so insane, though. Like, the delay in time doesn't even matter that much. It's still a 3/3. It only costed 3. It's going to do 12. I guess you just have to be confident you'll last that long, but that just seems insane. +2, and he's going to do at least 4. So 6 + 4 + 2 is still not enough, but it's almost. Unless he has something even more than that. So you could do this. I don't have any means to heal, regardless. But he can do a guaranteed 3 every turn. With lifesteal. And I think even though the lifesteal is only on the weapon, it still counts when you use the claw, because that just adds attack. It's kind of confusing because it enables you to attack in the first place, so it seems like that's the weapon, but let me guess, it's a charge or something? Or, oh wow. I mean, this seems like a pretty advanced kind of deck. Wait, I thought after 2 uses it switch back. Must be after 4 uses. Hey, come on, let me try to just do one more win at least. Some of these just feel like you don't even really have a chance. Right, some of those effects are just crazy. I'm even so shocked by that stupid Flight Master thing, even though I've seen it before. It's still new, but it's not super new. Just get rid of everything. I don't know if that means he's going to use a pirate deck. It could just be he likes the hero. But sometimes you give away stuff to your opponent by doing that. Right, like it could tell you what... But then again, it doesn't... I guess it matters a little bit. Because at the start of the game, you would at least know what to mulligan for and stuff. So it is true to form there. So I guess you could just summon stuff outright.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
I guess you could see that. Patches, too. Right, since we are in Wild. I forget what expansion that was even a part of, but the Pirate Warrior shenanigans began with that. A 2/5 for 3, which is when you, after you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage, alright. I guess I could just guarantee that we kill that if it's so concerning.
Job's done.
But this one isn't too bad. I mean, it's already done its damage. 1/2 for 1 with a good battle cry. This is just an evergreen one that you see all the time. Do they even have Mr. Smite in the game? I still don't think they do. Or maybe it must not be that commonly used if they do. I almost seem to remember seeing him, but 3/3 or 5/4. You should almost just summon the biggest stuff, because that's what this is going to be. It's all about the board. It's not about the whatever win condition you think you might have. So you wouldn't even want to give him card draw with the Murloc, but maybe you have to. But I'll try to avoid it. Whenever this attacks, give your weapon +1/+1, but you don't have one. That's kind of a desperate play just to go on the board. Just keep summoning big stuff, and if you keep putting all your damage into it, I'm fine with that. Imagine having an aggro deck and still being concerned about 40 health. Like, why would you even do that? Just because it's busted? But it doesn't even fit. Okay, I don't know what he's actually using. It's all over the place. You can take care of this and still have one left over. You could just do this. I mean, it's the kind of game where I wouldn't mind doing that. 6-5 for 6. You get the effect. Now he has to focus on killing it. Otherwise, I could cycle it back or just use Zola even. Deal 1 to all minions. Okay, that's good for at least one of mine. Classic card, but he's going face with it. Or maybe not. Yeah, destroy the Juggernaut. No. 7. Kind of have to do the armor a little bit. I'm kind of flexing my win condition, but it's not going to matter because I'm too low on HP. You have to be a bit more defensive minded than that. So he let it stay alive, which normally would be a big mistake and cost him the whole thing, but not in this case. I'm sure he has plenty of damage still. 2 heroic strikes or something. Only does 1. Put 3 colossal things at the bottom of your deck. I really need my hero card. He's just going to keep going face. He gets another durability out of it too. So he might just be presenting lethal already. You could just do this again. It might just be over already. Even if he drew both of those, he still has 16 left. So all he would need is 2. Whether it be like a buff or a charge or anything. Well, he just have to wait till next turn. Imagine if I survive by the draw a weapon. Draw 2 weapons, so he's just showing that he has unmitigatable damage incoming. And I'm just not getting what I need. I'm giving him even more stuff, but I kind of need something myself. Yeah, I just don't have it. Anything to make me gain armor or anything. Hit him in the face, which doesn't matter. See, the 40 health didn't come into play at all. It's not like I was about to rush him down or something. Although it does seem like it would almost negate rush decks in a sense, because the whole race to do 30 is now the race to do 40, and that could make all the difference in the world.
Let's see, what do I take?
You'd think he'd be able to just do it. With all the weapons he got to his hand, nothing has more than 4. Plus 1 less per attack of your weapon. Just give me a charge or something. It's not going to be enough, though. Even if you draw both. Oh, that 2 damage could even be... Oh, he actually doesn't have it, though. That's kind of surprising. So now you can get super lucky with the... See, now I just need something defensive, which I only have 1 of. You could just do this. So if he draws both of them in a row, that would be your only hope, which is pretty much 0% chance of happening. Even if he drew 1, that would have been cool.
You really put the old heave-ho into
I was kind of amazingly lucky that he didn't have lethal even up to that point. You are being matched against a player of your skill, but skill doesn't matter, only power creep does. Match somebody who has the same sort of zany, variable usage of cards as me. Give me a theme deck. There should be like its own category for that. It almost feels like Wild should be implied that it's like that, but people still use kind of boring, try-hard type stuff. Like how much you want to bet the next guy has that 40 HP thing, because it's just probably busted. Even though I keep saying that, but it's not really the reason why they're winning. Right, it's not really... I guess it kind of was there because he would have been down to 4 instead of 14 or something, but still. So it could be very likely a Murloc thing, but it could be a number of other ones. Like, there's so much variety of different decks that you could make, but people just use the same ones over and over. Wow. See, it's a choice. I mean, I could do that too if I wanted to. I just don't want to. That's so stupid. It's really the player base's fault sometimes. Because, like, it's as fun as you want to make it. But people always want to do this sort of fake meta shit. If you want to go true meta, then you shouldn't be at bronze rank 7. And if you don't care, then you should use something more interesting and themed and unique. Which could still be good. It's not like, oh, you're not trying to win, but... you're trying to win with your performance and with your style rather than with just having objectively better sets of cards or this or that. Or just using whatever's considered best at the time. Anybody could do that. Just use, like, you know, whatever's the #1 deck. Just use it and just you'll win the vast majority of the time. Like, how much skill is there really involved in that? Of course, you'll be playing against other people doing the same thing, so little minute differences could be present. I mean... okay, he missed 1 turn, which is not a huge deal. You've seen that plenty of times. I'll just give him cards even though it's questionable. This is maybe one that you would even think of removing, but the fact that it's so flexible with either giving you cards if you need them or drawing through their bombs if you need to try to finish them off like that, that could be the difference. So he just randomly does that. I guess I don't have to do the weapon yet. We can place a whole bunch of these in there if he lets me.
Get them, boys.
I'm in 2 copies, so you wouldn't want to let him evolve it or whatever. You can get rid of 2 of them at least, which removes the whole value proposition. You always want to get rid of this one because you might think, oh, they're... oh no, I guess they all do share the same effect. I thought only that one had it, the middle one. So if you return that to your hand, you can keep doing it. Makes me want to do my anti-spell deck. The true spell canceller, who's actually good. Unlike that 1800 garbage that requires a tribute. Like, even just compared to Jinzo, it's so much worse. Single tribute 2400 versus, you know, single tribute 1800. I guess spells are just that much more valuable.
What now?
So we could just do this. Take a little bit to the face. You would think dragging it out is to my benefit, not his, but it really requires me to get my hero card.
You cannot stop the cloud.
Okay, that's an old school one that I have to give some credit to him for having that, or using that. Because it's really not even that good. You can just do this. You get something back in return. 4/4. Not bad value. We're missing both N'Zoth, Iron Juggernaut, and the hero card, which is unfortunate. You want at least one of those. Deal 8 damage to a random enemy. So it's going to be hard to... really deal with that exactly. I guess I could hit it with the face, but let's see. So it kills the very... oh, I thought it almost couldn't do that. The effect would trigger at the same time, so it would kill one of these first. Or if there was nothing else on the board, it wouldn't work, but it goes through and kills even after something spawns. That doesn't seem right. It should occur at the same time. Okay, we can just keep dealing with this. 4, 8... nothing I could do to really close the difference of 1 damage. I have to hit it with my face. Don't really have a whole lot of choice. I can't just let these things sit around. Oh wow, Direwolf came in so clutch with that. That's one of the rare, like, amazing sort of interactions that can happen with those mechs. Or I guess you can get Doomsayer, which is a really bad one, assuming your opponent wants that, because then you can't do anything about it. It's up to them whether they want to kill it or not. You get a 6/6. Of course, I don't have any charge or anything, which makes plays like that weaker. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I could just summon something big. I guess I may as well just do it. Put it there and we'll be able to use the bombs with that buff a little bit. So there should be quite a few. You could chain it into a couple 2/1s. The fact that he goes in the middle though is kind of bad, because then you can only go so far with it. But unfortunately, we just don't have the ability to charge with these, which didn't matter much, because that turn you wouldn't have been able to do much with it. He's got some crazy AoE, but the damage is still going to be good. At some point, they just decided everything was about the board and nothing was about the face. So cards like that seem absurd to be able to do 15 like that, but it's just like a guaranteed board clear that so many classes have so many of now. Enemy battle cry costs 5 more next turn. Your battle cries trigger twice this turn. He has to play something for it. I can't do N'Zoth at least. I mean, all I have are battle cries, so I would have to just do that. That's almost pretty bad actually, because he'll be left with 1. So if he summons a whole bunch of stuff, I could just do Warpath. Oh wow, is this going to be the Shutterwalk thing?
Weak once more.
Nobody move and no one gets hurt.
Oh, that's pretty interesting actually. So there's not really much I can do about it. 8/8, 6 mana, 7/7, good effect. You can just destroy the 5/5 at least with this. But the problem is even the N'Zoth play is kind of weak because you're not going to get a charge or anything out of it. I have 2 Brawl, so I may as well just do one if he's going to summon a bunch of stuff, which I assume he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to have Shutterwalk, but it seems to fit with this deck at least. These 2 cards always went together. Okay, Brawl is definitely justifiable here. No question. I can even do the Dry Whisker. Just create another target that could mess up his odds of saving stuff. And then do it like that. I could have even returned it to my hand. Okay, that's an unfortunate one. Very unfortunate. I might even have to do something like that just to present something on the board. Because I don't have any means to get rid of this unless I just Brawl again. Which I might have to. Steal your opponent's weapon.
The time has come to dethrone our
Okay,
former
so you must assume I don't have another one. It's almost like I could do the cleave.
Accepted.
Well,
Challenge
yeah, I guess that's maybe worth it, because then if it survives, I could do the cleave. And knowing my luck, it's almost guaranteed to be the one. No? I guess there's no way you could have known that. Like which one it was going to be, but that was like preparing for the worst case scenario. I guess I could have just kept it alive though, and then maybe mine would have survived. The board is still pretty even. That doesn't even bother me at all, and in fact, he didn't even get the value out of it. He's going to present 11 out of 16. I guess I have no choice but to do something immediately impactful to just distract him from probably the imminent lethal that I'm sure he has. With this, he could have healed himself to full twice, which doesn't even make sense. the perfect card to finish me off, but he doesn't even have that
was a
effect.
mistake.
He's going to hex one of them. But at least that shows you he's not going to go face. So that means we're going to get the clone N'Zoth. So whenever you get these N'Zoth plays, it actually ends up being pretty crazy. If only I had a charge to go along with that. He doesn't even seem to be interested in dealing with it. And how's he got so many big things though that he can just keep summoning? I might have to do something like that. You could do that. Now you'd want to use cleave. You can use execute, and then you can guarantee the cleave to clear the board. Your next battle cry this turn triggers twice. There's no way I could do that along with N'Zoth. It's just not mathematically possible. Only has 3 cards, so he's not using his hero power to any great effect, but maybe something is coming. He got Shudderwalk or something crazy. Somehow he's gonna do. But did he even do that much damage with it? Give your minions. Everything costs 5 more. Oh, that's why Doppelganger is good, because it counts for that. Yeah, what a nice card. What a great thing for the game. Really just amazing. Is just gonna keep doing it or what? Well, the point is it gives him more of them to use at least. A lot of unpreventable shenanigans. I don't even get that. Even that counts as a battle cry, even though it's not a minion. 7, 14, 21. I mean, that's just amazing. It doesn't feel like there's anything I could have possibly done to prevent that either. That's just the nature of how his deck works. So mine's just a bad matchup for it, which is probably a bad matchup for a lot of things. At this bronze rank 7, what the fuck? At least get out of bronze with it. This just shows you why power creep can ruin something, because it's not even that though. People would always use the meta stuff just because they think it means something. Like, it doesn't matter. Just use something interesting. I mean, I guess using Shudderwalk now is at least not the common thing, so at least it's different. You want to see stuff just scattered throughout all the different expansions though. At least she's not using that fucking 40 HP thing. Like, can I just go against somebody who's using something a bit more ordinary? At 4 cards from the other classes to your hand. Just the pace of this is way too slow. Like, you have things that you could play on curve, but you choose not to for some combo purpose, which may or may not even pan out. From another class. So why is it showing like her taking it from me? It doesn't mean the other class has to be mine. That's all well and good, but you really want your hero card. It is kind of bullshit how that counts as a battle cry, because I couldn't even use that when he used whatever, like the inverse Lothab. Instead of making spells cost more, it makes battle cries cost more, including Lothab. Yeah, there's still nothing I can do about it, so we're just gonna sit here. Hits me in the face. Just don't do anything else. But I guess you have so many cards that you would have to. This is where the Murloc can be good too, because you can just burn some of their stuff. I had never seen that card either. The one that increases battle cry cost by 5 your next turn. Must be something somewhat new at least. Okay, I'm kind of getting tired of just waiting, doing nothing. Even though I don't need to do that. I guess I just will, so he's probably not going to trade it. Just holding so many cards back. I might even do a turn 6 Juggernaut just because of how bad and slow this hand is. Even something like Cleave just seems so garbage now, but sometimes it can be good. 4 cards. I do like that one. Pretty hard to get rid of, but the best way to deal with it is just to let them trade in the stuff. There's no reason for you to try to get rid of it because you're not going to. It goes from 2-2, then 6-6, then 10-10. Return it to your hand, and at least you have to keep playing them. But it's still good value to cycle through 3 things, but
crosses the uncrowned.
it's just slow. Deal 4, cost 0 if you're holding a card from another class. You don't have enough to actually be able to use that. Equip a 3-2 with immune. Not that big of a deal. So, not really much I can do with that. Like, literally nothing. This is one of the most bricked beginning to a game ever. Just can't do anything about it. Almost want to brawl, so just summon one more thing too, and then it would feel justified. Warpath I could do for 4. Actually, that would be better. You don't even have to brawl. Yeah, summon something else with 4 or less. Are you actually going to turn into a Jade deck? That would be pretty amazing. It just seems like you won't have... I mean, if you let the duel drag out, then it might be impactful, but generally it probably shouldn't be. So just do this 4 times. And we're just waiting for something that I can actually use. Like, my hero card is the main thing. I've said that like every single one of these, just that that's what I need, and if I get it, I at least have a chance. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit annoying to deal with. Summon something else so I can cleave, and then you wouldn't even want to execute it, honestly. Add a random card from another class to your hand. It always shows that like they're taking it from you, but that doesn't mean that's the case. Because what if I was a rogue too? Then obviously that wouldn't make sense. Come like this. I guess I probably should have just summoned that and let it be, because... Or even this would have been fine. Like, why? That was one of the worst things I could have done. At least if they trade into it, it'd be a 1 remaining, so I could cleave it. Because you want to save the execute for the 10-10 or for something else. So that'd be a perfect cleave. Just hit my 5-5. Don't summon anything else. I guess I could even brawl if you're going to overcommit. Then I can save the execute just for something bigger. Oh wow, you're doing a lot of stuff to shuffle into the deck. Jade Idol and that. I'm not sure if that's the greatest idea, but it is cute. You are going to trade. After your hero attacks, draw cards until you have 3. I mean, they're at least playing in sort of a fun way, so I can give them credit for that. This is very unique. It can't be really planned because there's too much stuff that's just random. So that works out okay. Do I really have need of some of these sort of core cards that I'm just not getting any of them? Give me at least one of them. Right, N'Zoth or Juggernaut, or did I already play that and she already killed it? No, I think that was a different one. So just, you have 2 brawls, which is pretty good. Well, that could be disturbing. She could maybe copy it or return it to her hand too. And of course, I'm gonna run out of cards before her, so it's gonna hurt me more. So I could trade into that and mine wouldn't even die. I hit my face, so if I draw that, I'll be down to 4, which is very scary. You could do that with no real hesitation. You come like this. There's really not a whole lot else I can do. I'm just waiting for stuff. This is just way too weak and slow. She might take out the 5-1 with the weapon. Then we'll see what we get in return. Last time was pretty good. We got like a 4-12 dragon or something. Obviously, you could just get like Blood Mage Thalanos or something trash. He's trying to be all cute, which I have to at least respect and appreciate, because that's what, you know, I've been kind of asking for, or like what I try to do. Like, you still make what should be the best play, which maybe these aren't, but you at least go in with some. What the fuck? Shuffle 8 copies of it. It's almost like that'd be amazing with the Juggernaut, but you can't do it. Upgrades each turn.
Consider your past deeds.
Does something when you use your hero power, so you obviously have to try to get rid of that. Why wouldn't you? Oh, that's why you're doing it. At least you have to overcommit a bit. Destroy a damaged minion, freeze all other minions. That at least put me in the driver's seat a little bit if I could actually get something that I can use here. Get 4 of those. I would even flip that back to my hand just because of how desperate I am for like an actual play here. I have nothing going. I have that 10 bomb at least in there, and she might be coming up with a lot more. Oh, I hate stuff like this, like the scarab thing for the druid. That's even way better because that's like a 1/5 for each enemy. Can't escape chance wherever I go. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. In fact, the 1/1s do a pretty good job of dealing with this, but I might even get the thing that blows them all up, which I don't. I mean, since she's in the spirit of doing this, it's not going to work, but it's at least going to put some pressure. Okay, so we got rid of basically all of them. No reason to execute that. Probably shouldn't have done Mimron's head there, but somehow I just like the idea of it. I even have it too, like in my collection, so I could just always use it. I could certainly execute this. I might even have to. I feel like I'm not doing that because it's the optimal play. It definitely wasn't. Also, you can get the same ones in like a different order. I thought for some reason, even as many times as I've used this, that they cycled, so you couldn't get like, I guess I've seen that happen before though. Now that's very dangerous because I have very few left. So she's actually prioritizing this as a target. The armor is always a lifesaver here. If your hero has armor, whenever this deals damage, gain that much armor. Deal 2 damage to all minions. If your hero has armor, gain +2/+2. Because there's no way I can get rid of this. I could maybe flip this back to the hand, or maybe put another. This would actually hurt me even. I don't know exactly what I'm even trying to do here, but he has 2 of the bombs in my deck at least. The armor wouldn't be bad. I think you can't get 2 of the same one back to back, but then once you do the second turn, you can get the first one on the third turn. There's no limit on that. You can just keep looping between the same 2. Maybe. It's so hard to get this effect to actually activate. But you would think you could just treat it as like a 4/5 taunt, because you know they're gonna try to get rid of it at all costs. I mean, you keep adding those, but you're never using them, so it's not gonna do you any good. Oh, maybe it just neutralizes my bombs a little bit. Because now your deck is just too loaded, so you're never going to draw into them.
Snakes. It has to be snakes.
That's a little bit bothersome, actually. Deal 2, and we get to deal 1 that way. Let's see what is left after that. You're left with 1 on each, so I probably didn't do that really correctly at all. Or maybe that was the best I could do. You could certainly kill this now. I mean, even with all those idols in there, you're still getting screwed by that. Just because of how many, I guess, I put in there. I'm a little bit worried I could draw 2 in a row myself for 10 each, and then I'm just screwed. That is so ridiculous, the immunity on that. It's one thing to have an unlimited 3-2, which itself is amazing, but... What, you're just gonna do nothing? I mean, I could basically guarantee my own demise there. I'm just gonna do these for some reason. Or I'll just do one of them. I don't know what I'm doing. I just have nothing that I can actually use, and I don't want to stall it out too much longer. She's at 9. Like, this is about as good as you're gonna get, dude. I'm getting maybe even a little bit lucky with that, just considering how many cards she actually has. It almost makes it seem like the one I'm putting in automatically goes to the top of the deck just by the effect of it, but it obviously doesn't. 2 random spells. So clearly neither of our decks are very optimal, so this is the kind of matchup I like more. Although she's clowning around even more than me because like her plays are just adding Jade Idols and stuff. I mean, this would be very suicidal to... I guess those are the only 2 things in my deck though, so I can't really fear them. Whenever you cast a spell, add a random priest thing to your hand. So I could guarantee the kill on that. Or I could just do it with this. And just keep a little bit of pressure on. I would only have 4 left in the event that I did draw both of those back to back, which could happen. Man, if she drew another bomb that time, that'd be way too lucky. It's happened like 3 times in a row where she just draws it as soon as I play one. Even if she had other ones in there all along, she doesn't have that many.
You have no idea.
Replay every card from another class you've played this game, which... Oh, wait. But she played it in the wrong way then. Wait, what? I mean, I guess I do have Brawl. So whatever the board is... I mean, you have plenty of Jade Idols, but... It would have been better if you actually played one that you summoned something with. In fact, that'd be an amazing synergy, but of course you can't plan for that because you can't plan that you're going to get a Jade Idol. But if she had just summoned one every time, even if it seemed like a dead play, it would have been better with this. There's a minion. Oh, wow. Even more reason to actually use the Jade Idol. You probably should go face even, but... The Brawl is certainly an acceptable thing to do. And she's so close to being dead too, but... No point making her draw stuff. I'll get something back at least. It's like I want to do this, but I also want to just hit her with this. I guess that's more important. Oh, I could have charged. I could have rushed, I mean. What does this do? I've never seen this before. Draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. Oh, you always have to be cognizant of stuff like that, because what if it was really good? I could have flipped it back to my hand. I can't believe if that's going to be really my lose condition. Lose to Jade Idols from a rogue. That would be a new low. Hero power costs 1 less, which would work even in this case. I can't be too surprised. Wow. Well, that's gonna be hard to overcome. I could do another brawl. I'm gonna 7/7. The problem is, no matter what I do, it's just gonna be problematic. I don't have enough to be able to use both. You could do 2, 3. So now if you combine this, or wait, I could charge it too. Oh no, it doesn't work. It still doesn't work. Okay, at least that one was more interesting. Okay, I'll let her have the lethality as long as you don't take too long.
You're good.
That at least I have respect. It was interesting. She played in kind of a unique way. I can't even win 1 now. I guess getting to 7, I'm just hard stuck. Bronze 7, whatever this thing is called, is about as far as I can go. So stupid. It wasn't good even in its heyday, and it's definitely not good now. Just the concept that I love so much, and that I could even say maybe I came up with. Not that other people haven't used maybe something similar, but only because they got it from me. But no, because it's like just to commit to it this hard. Because like this card didn't even exist when I came up with that. A lot of these cards didn't. N'Zoth wasn't there, so it was still the idea of flipping the Juggernaut back to the hand. Right, like right when the Juggernaut came out, which was super early, the Brewmasters were already there. So that was it. Like you could just do that, and there was some little other synergy maybe. There was no Baleful Banker, there was none of this stuff. It's just such an amazing idea. Of which everybody probably has a favorite pet deck like that, but you probably never get to use it because it just sucks too bad. I need to create like my own community that just plays like fun and interesting stuff. It doesn't matter who wins. That's what you have to remember. Like with Yu-Gi-Oh, people were saying that in the GOAT format, like, oh, why not use something better? This is the best meta deck. Like, I already know that, right? I've already been through all that, but it's like, why does it matter? I'm not trying to win. It's not going to do anything for me. The whole point is to use something interesting. Draw any mechs. So evidently all of them were basically. At least we have our main condition card, which was a problem in the other one that I just didn't have that. You could coin into the 4 now. You wouldn't want to. I might even coin into the 6. Well, not really though, because
The light dims, but we fight.
okay, that's fine. Summon a 3/3. 1/1 for 1 with Taunt and Divine Shield. Amazing. Puts the Goldshire Footman to shame. After you summon a mech, gain +1/+1. So why? Oh, that's not a mech.
Somebody order a bomb.
So you have a good curve, 4, if you have to, 5, if you have to, 6, 7. Well, I guess you'd only have one or the other, so hopefully we get like a 5 in here somewhere. Only really have one good identifiable 5, which is that chick that puts the bomb, 5/5. Not really brawl or something, is situational. So you wouldn't really want to do that on curve. You could Warpath here, I guess, but I kind of just don't even want to. It doesn't really feel worth it. This is a pretty sticky minion, so he could deal with it or he could just ignore it. Some of the priest cards are just crazy, like giving a death rattle, summon 2 more of this, and the death rattle is already something like summon something else. It's just like an endless loop. Or even that Warlock Cube card, Or maybe it's not a Warlock card, it just appeared in a lot of Warlock decks. Okay, you could Brawl here, but I don't have it. So you might have to just... You probably should stack stuff into it, yeah, because you're gonna discourage me from AoEing. Right, because now it almost doesn't seem worth it to do. Or maybe it is. You could do it twice and you could hit that. After you summon a mech, I'd almost want to get rid of that. You could do one. Then you could hit. And you could do another. And then if you're really worried about it, you could execute that. But I guess I can wait on that. Let it get pumped up a bit more. Or just save it for something better. So I might just go straight for the hero card if he doesn't make too imposing of a board. Draw a minion, give minions in your hand. What the fuck? Wow, that doesn't seem busted at all. What the fuck? Divine Shield Battlecry. Put a Sunken Mooncatcher on the bottom of your deck. Could use Brawl. I mean, I just see this as being kind of a necessary thing. And then maybe I could do this. I don't know how many bombs he has. I feel like very few. There's almost a case where you don't want him to draw it yet. I don't know if that's even going to save me. Or I could just Brawl now. I mean, he's going to overcommit. Because it seems like, oh, that was a desperate play by me. Just gain 7 armor and buy a turn.
Initializing descent.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. He doesn't have any Death Rattle sticky stuff, so that's good. Do your little hero power 2 or summon something more. A little bit concerning. I have no choice but to do it. Good thing I got it there. I mean, I do keep 2 of them, so it's not really that lucky of a... What, it doesn't have Wind Fury, does it? I mean, I really have no choice but to do that. Or maybe I should have looked to see what that was first. Okay, and it was a very lucky outcome, too. Reduce the cost of mechs in your hand. Summon a random minion from your hand that costs 2 or less. I guess this could be good, actually. Galvanizer. So now I should be able to do the 7 cost and then charge some stuff in, I guess. But I wouldn't really... Oh my god. Or I guess I could just... Wait. Battlecry summon a copy of this. But wait, how did you buff it up that much? Well, I guess I got baited into that brawl. I mean, I should have just not done it and died. I don't really understand what happened there, but... I might just have to do this and hope that one gets damaged and then I can execute it. Like, or not even hope, you can guarantee one of them. So you got presenting 10 damage. I didn't do the armor, but I really didn't have a choice. I could discover something maybe good like a heal bot. What is that 9/7 shit? Okay, thankfully they don't go phase. If they don't know how absolutely insanely little healing I have, by which I mean I have none. I literally have 0. I mean, armor doesn't even count as healing, but even that I don't have any armor cards besides the hero that occasionally will give you 7, or just the act of playing it is my most defensive thing. Just you gain 7 when you do that. I would need like another brawl. There's no way around it. Or something insane from here, but I doubt there'd be anything good enough. What happened exactly? From... Oh, it's from that stupid weapon thing. The taunt, I can't even do that. Even if that would have helped. Lifesteal taunt. It's not going to be enough. There's nothing I can do. you just whack it with the 7/7. Hit me with both of those.
I give up. Self-destruct!
Man, this is way harder than I would have thought. I do one more, whether I win or lose then. I was going until I won one more, but I guess that'll literally take an eternity to do. So basically, to say whether this is viable to do or not, it's not at all. Which is not a big surprise, but damn, dude. Oh, the cooler the concept, the more fun it is, the worse it's gonna be. It's not even like, oh, this would have been good back when, you know, at a different time. It was really never that good. It would have been better, though, still, relatively, but... To get rid of the whole thing here. And we were still seeing Shutter Walk and this and that, although you can't really say still seeing, because you would see it, you know, forever. That's the beauty of this format. Although it seems like some cards are excluded, like the classic stuff or Sylvanas or whatever. What a refreshing thing that is. Amazing. Never seen that before. Okay, at least this is a little bit different than what I've seen. Used to see that all the time. You should almost see stuff that is older. Or like... I mean, I should almost go aggro here just to stop them from doing what they're doing, but...
Love the feel of wind in me sails.
Add 2 pirates to the hand, so I don't really know which one she's going to try to pump up here. I don't know if I should go face, or... You shouldn't really leave stuff laying around, because then, maybe that's just what you want, though. Turn it to your hand, it costs 2 less. But there's no guarantee you're going to get even more of those.
Love the feel of
I don't really know how to go against this, like, unless she does it again. It has to be the same exact one, right? So how are you going to get it again? Do a 4 cost. At least our curve here is pretty good. It doesn't seem like it'd be that easy to do. He's going to keep shadow stepping something, but it would have to be something different now. You got a 5, we got a 6, you got another 6, but I wouldn't want to do it. Once you get that condition, it just becomes impossible. Right, that's why you almost have to out-tempo her. And of course, now she has a fucking 40 health to start, too. Oh, that's... But see, if I didn't do it, she probably had a way to clone it anyway. I get it now, but... I don't see... You could say, oh, just don't take it then, because then the secret won't trigger, but then she'll just do something herself. So stupid. Basically now there's just nothing I can do at all. Even charging this in. That's amazing. Even what's on your board at the time. Actually gonna go face, huh? I guess that's fine. I'll let him deal with it, although you probably have a lot of stuff coming now. A lot of cheap 1 cost. Reminds me kind of the Karnasa thing where you have so many of those weak things so that if it doesn't work out, it screws you, but I don't know what else I could have done there. I guess you could just not take and then let her shadow stab or do something else. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character. So many things you just can't play around. You just have to let them happen. It seems reluctant to take this. That's one of my personal favorite effects in cards. Just not being able to be targeted by stuff. Do another one of these. I guess I probably should set up for... It's almost like you want to execute that at some point, but... Let's just wait. This is just not going to end well. I guess you probably should have done it the opposite way, no? Attack it with the 5-3 and then you have a... Well, it wouldn't have mattered in this case, but... What is this death rattle effect? If you control something, it's only a 4 cost, so it's not too bad. You could do this, you could do this, you could do this. Just like I have nothing really to respond with, so just keep summoning a bunch of stuff. You would think her deck wouldn't have too many other good options though, besides just summoning a lot of weak stuff that now is not so weak. So I don't know what I can do about this. You can't outlast her because everything she has is going to be good and cheap. This is insane, dude. Like, I'm done. I can't even win one now. What happened just at Bronze 7? Like, at least I was winning a few. Now it's just completely done. I guess I can try some other theme decks too, but this was the one I really wanted to do. It's just not good. Like, it's just not gonna work. Even when I win, it's like the most spectacular, unlikely type of thing. Like, if I somehow win this, it'd be amazing, but it's just not gonna happen. I don't see any possible way. Even if you get a brawl, so what? She'll just summon a whole bunch more. It's just some of these conditions are so broken. You can do 15 right off the top. It's not even worth her time to try to take that. You could do the N'Zoth play, but it's not even going to matter because nothing's going to have charge or anything. I'd have to keep cycling that back and doing it. But, yeah, it's not going to be enough. Minion plus 1 attack, so you could take my 6/6, but you still won't. Plus 1 and rush. There's no need to do it like that, but like, there was no mathematical way that I could have ever dealt with that. It's almost like you really need a silence in this for some various purposes. Maybe she'll just get distracted by that. You should never say well played early because they might not notice they have lethal, or I mean, I doubt it.
Dark in the sky.
Okay, we get it, dude. I kind of still want one more. Just one win. How hard is it? Okay, last one, no matter the outcome even. Completely, just that's it. I said that like probably 2 ago, but it's unbelievable that I can't get any. Because I don't even mind, like, if you win one, lose one, fine. I don't even really care about ranking up that much, but just give me some matchups that feel like they're at least possible to do. I guess that's what people would say about that last one. Just don't take, but as if she doesn't have ways to clone it herself.
Victory or death.
Or as if that was the only card that you could have possibly played 4 times. Off the effect of it, anyway. You at least have one of your key cards. Next elemental you play costs 1 less. It's fun just to see all these different decks in play, because think about how many ones there are. Right, over the course of the entire history of the game. Many of which weren't even good to begin with, but if people are creative like me, they'll just do them anyway. Okay, you could just do nothing, but you probably should do this just because the tempo seems too extreme. That's just a judgment call you have to make. Right, like, you don't want to leave this board there. Battle cry, battle cry. Come on, the final boss of the day. Can we do this?
Nature
You just so badly need your 7 cards. If I start with Dr. Boom every time, at least I feel like, okay, that's half the battle right there. And not the one you summon. I don't even have that one. I have the other Blastmaster. So many boom cards. I almost want to coin into the 4 cost just because it's so sticky. These are all battle cries, so it doesn't even matter. But I guess I'll trade into that. That's fine. It's a very elemental focused deck. I don't even know what the meta decks are now or what they have been for a long time. So I wouldn't even know if this is really good or not. Like, obviously, I know Shudderwalk. I saw many times. That Crystal Caves one I've seen, obviously, many times before. Those are both pretty good. I wouldn't even say the Crystal Caves is that great, but I don't really know how you deal with it beyond a certain point. It's very hard to stop those conditions from being met, because they have so many cards that can just Shadow Step and this and that, even the Brewmaster for that. You just have to beat them on tempo, basically, which this kind of deck isn't going to be able to do. That's why rush decks are more so evergreen than a lot of these other ones. Something that aggroes you down can work, just if they take too much time to build up their cute little combo or whatever they have to do. You can just overwhelm them. That's a very questionable one to use ever, but it's alright. After you play an elemental. Okay, so I like his theme here. Just a lot of different elementals, but I'm assuming this is some new meta thing that I'm just not familiar with. Like, I want to see some variation throughout expansions. Don't just use something only from one expansion, right? The whole point of Wild, even in Standard, you can mix up a few different expansions, but... Okay, that's good. But I don't have anything that I can really do here. It's like, oh, you could play these two together, but they'll bounce each other back to their hand, so it's an impossible loop. Immune while attacking. After you cast a spell, attack the lowest health enemy. Okay. Well, that's kind of crazy in and of itself. It's pretty good. I don't know who some of these characters are, obviously, because it came... Well, some of them seem like they might be made up just for Hearthstone, and some of them are obviously from the lore, but after the point where I'm familiar with it, which is like anything after Wrath. If you played an Elemental last turn, deal 3. So do I have anything I can deal with? Warpath would be fine. It's almost like I still don't even want to do it, but I kind of have to. I've gotten some lucky draws into Brawl in some of these games, I will say. Either top decks or just a turn before I need it. If you played an Elemental last turn, deal 3 again. And deal 3 yet again to the face. Draw a weapon. So I think I'm just going to lose on pure tempo here. Amazing, fun. Just shows you how bad this really is. Just have no chance to do anything. I'll just use something crazy good and never lose, and it'll be so much fun doing the same thing over and over. That's so sad. I at least have to tweak it a little bit. But then it won't even resemble what it's meant to be. At least I have the charge capability, but it's certainly not going to matter. Oh boy. Give me like, I don't know. You could do this and you could do like cleave maybe, and you'd have to hope that it hits the right targets. Which it did. That's the best case scenario you could have had, and it's still not going to be enough. This doesn't even seem like that good of a deck that he's using. I just can't stay alive. 3 damage is not very hard to come by, but he used both of those to do it. That went up actually from 3 to 4, which I think I've seen before. Like since then, but I don't really remember it too clearly. Okay, fine. One more. I just want to end on a win, dude, and get to 750. It's actually insane, dude. Like, what am... And imagine if I do get to a higher rank, like I get to bronze or gold, I mean gold or something, then you're only, that's the problem with it, is you can't do unranked in some of these formats, right? Or in any of them, unless you just do casual altogether. Or wait, in casual, can you use like any deck, or is it like wild? I'll have to look at that. Because yeah, if you get up to, let's say I'm legend rank, but then I want to mess around with some bad deck, I still have to play at legend level, right? I can't do casual wild. You can only do casual, maybe period.
I see you've brought gifts.
Okay, I'm probably not going to win this either, but Priest tends to be pretty bad. You would think it's good because you can kind of stall the game out and pack their deck with this stuff, but it doesn't really happen.
We come from far.
Start of your turn, copy a spell from your opponent's deck to your hand. Okay. Doesn't bother me too much. Just do that to try to get rid of it, I guess. Maybe gives her an idea of what I'm trying to do, but I don't have a ton of really good spells. Play a 2, 3, 4, discover a card from your deck. It doesn't even seem that good. Huh. You can summon a 4, you could summon the brew, or I guess I could do my weapon. You do like a very discover focused kind of deck. Fun internal RNG in a card game that already is built around RNG in terms of drawing the cards. What a great concept. Just do this, you could do a 5 cost. Wouldn't want to do the Juggernaut, especially against the Priest, because there's too many ways to get rid of it. Dredge for your opponent, what? For your opponent. Look at the bottom 3 cards, put 1 on top. And it costs 6. That doesn't seem overpowered at all, wow. Like, even just the dredge effect alone is good. You can choose the worst one to put at the top of their deck. But it'll be like that moment from Siegfried versus Kaiba where it's like, you can choose which card to put on the top of their deck out of these 3. And it's all 3 blue eyes. It's an amazing moment. He's like, what the fuck do I do now? So it's like where all 3 options are good. Or they're even the same. 3/3, draw your highest cost. It just ruins this card. Like, so keep the sticky guy up there still. 4/2. And in fact, 4 attack is the priest killer because they never had anything that can deal with that. Right, like Shadow Word. And it was, you know, from a time where they didn't have a ton of AoEs or removal at all. They didn't have Shadow Bomb or whatever it is, Light Bomb. All they had was Holy Nova. So if that wasn't enough to get rid of a 4 attack minion, they'd just be screwed. Like Ysera could be so hard for them to deal with. I wonder what is actually considered the very best of Wild at any time. I wouldn't dare to look at it though. Right, like I want everything to be a surprise. So I like how people act like, oh, something is so simple or solved or this or that, when all their knowledge relies on borrowed stuff. Like imagine playing a single player game like that. Just try to figure everything out yourself and then see how complicated it is. You probably would still be stuck on, you know, something way worse than what people are using now in any, and so would anyone else. I'm just saying, like, that's the whole fun of it. Or like it seems simpler than it is because you're just using all these external resources. Or even like in chess, people act all elitist, but nobody would know the kind of lines that people do, even at an intermediate level, just because without engines and stuff at this stage. It would take them years to get to that same point. But they have the advantage of all this stuff, and they have the audacity to act like, oh, they're so smart, even though they didn't come up with any of it themselves, ever. Nor could they have. It's like borrowed knowledge. Which is still fine. Like, that's how a lot of stuff works. It's just, you could do this now and keep flipping it. I don't know why I wouldn't do that, in fact. Your opponent summons a minion from their deck. What was the other card that was like that? It's kind of like one of those from Nax, where it was like the Death Lord. Reduce the cost of mechs in your hand. You could cause her to overdraw and burn some stuff.
My hand is full.
And then you could do this. And then you could do that. May as well just get rid of it. And you get a 2/3. This dredge thing must be new, because that's always good to do against a priest, because some of their cards are going to be very important and beefy, but those two were not that good. You discover a card from your deck, but there's no guarantee that's going to be good. It could be the worst 3 cards. Wait, does that negate her ability to even discover it? Because her hand's full? Wait, did I just fuck over her whole thing? Oh, it continues though. Play a 5 and 6 cost. I mean, some of these are so stupid, the conditions. Like stuff that you would do anyway. You don't have to go out of your way to do it. We'll reward you for just playing the game. Yeah, see, they never used to have that. Way back when, I mean. So you could do a... Well... I guess I should just start doing it. The point is you want to use the rush effect still too, but getting the armor here is not that important. You do kind of want to stack it up with as many of these as you can get, which I can get at least 2 more just from what I have, and maybe a whole bunch. Play all cards your opponent played last turn. Okay. But you don't get the battle cry effect, which is a bit confusing, because technically if you did play them, it doesn't just say summon. So you could do Brawl here, or... How many Death Rattles do I really have? It seems like an appropriate Brawl turn, but... Actually, I don't need to do it.
Another round?
Not too bad. It's a pretty bad 4 cost, a 2/3. Nobody cares about the spell damage or anything else. Oh, I should have done that. Shit. Even she's looking at it. Fuck. Most of these haven't been my fault, though. Some of them are just unwinnable, but that sort of a thing could screw me over. I forgot that I'd have 2 left.
Shines brightest. We come from far, just to
Okay, so I guess I didn't need to brawl. I mean, your health's not going to be under risk very much here. I'm just kind of going too slow about doing this. Discover a dragon that costs 1 less. Or did I only get that? Oh, never mind. I didn't make a misplay, because I didn't even have that available yet. Spark, 5/1. Add 2/1/1 with Rush. Whenever you gain armor. I mean, everything has Rush, so that's kind of a moot point to even worry about that. You could do... The 6, you could whack something with it. These are both battle cries. I guess that for some value. And then you could flip it back. So that's fine for now. Put at least 2 of those in there. And probably a couple other bombs, so... It's not going to matter now, but if you can drag it out a bit more, that could be good. It's just going to be hard to. That's kind of just garbage. Okay, a brawl might be imminent here. Oh, but maybe this cost will change, so I could just flip this. Well, I wouldn't want to waste the flips, though, now. This is the beauty of the Iron Juggernaut thing, too, is you're not just flipping it for the sake of flipping at this point. You can charge, you can kill something, and then you can still flip it. Assuming whatever you kill doesn't have 5 or more attack, which... I could kill the 4/4, and then still save it. But I am going to be taking quite a bit to the face. Wait, is this thing still asleep, or... Yeah. So I'm only going to take 7, actually. So my armor is gone. But yeah, I think if I played this and flip it back, at least I'd get something more out of it. This is a good value proposition. Then you still get a 5-4 on the board. You heal it back up. You can play it yet again. This is almost the best case scenario for the Iron Juggernaut, but maybe she's going to purposely do that just to avoid the 10 damage. But that means she's just not going to be drawing anything and is going to be burning everything, which is kind of a big price to pay. So even if you do play around it, that's worth it. I mean, okay, now I might just have to do it. And it still didn't work for you. Drawing cards is very dangerous. You could get those. You gotta play it a little bit safer than that. I mean, it's a lucky sequence, but again, when you put that many in there, it's going to pan out. Too bad you can't do this. You should just brawl and do the armor. How likely is it that she's going to fill up her board yet again? Okay, so I can't... Oh, I guess I could do... Yeah, because if I do the armor, I'm not going to be able to... I'll take 5 anyway, so I won't be able to deal with that. Oh, shit. Okay, I did get extremely lucky there, I guess. She drew like 4 in a row and then 1 more on the next turn.
The path is clear for the worthy.
So she's just in full defensive mode now. Drawing cards is a risky business, though. I guess you could hold off on the Juggernaut, though, still. And so you get a 6. You get a 4. I thought I had more than that, actually, but maybe not. Gain +1/+1 for everything that died. That was kind of one of the weaker ner'zhuls. How could I not have more than that? Wait a second. Didn't I charge 2 of these into something? 1/1 copy of everything in your deck. You're certainly going to get a lot of healing out of it then. Discover Death Rattle. Whenever a spell is played, this minion remembers it. I mean, you could even Warpath, but I have this capability. In fact, this seems like a good turn to do that here. 1, 2, 3. You could sack this. You could hit in the face. And you still got to deal with my board. And I could even flip N'Zoth back again. And then you're going to get more value, right? Because it doubles. The ones that just died also count. A multiplicative effect. Okay, that's not too bad. Still going to get something back, even if the Shredder dies. And you keep N'Zoth. You might question why I'm not doing the Juggernaut, because that would just be an instant win as soon as it triggers, but I guess my luck with the bombs is running thin, because I don't expect to get that much more. I still don't want to give it up, though, without flipping it back, either. But there is just no way to flip it. I'll just keep the board pressure on, I guess.
Well played.
What, do you have some kind of crazy win condition or what? Or are you just impressed by that? It's possible I would have gotten it. I got very lucky for a stretch there. At the end of your turn, summon a 5/5 from your deck. You're not giving me anything that I can really do besides this. Oh, I should have maybe done that a little bit differently. 3 and 5. 5. What is this? After you play a Murloc, we're not going to have that happen. That's the problem with Legendary. They can be so good or they can be so bad. You should maybe have sacked N'Zoth and kept... Well, if I can get him back, it'd be worth it, but you might want to keep the Death Rattle alive just so it's sticky and you have to kill it twice. You shouldn't just offer that up. It's always better to trigger those on your opponent's turn than on your own turn. Right, so then now if he clears the board, I just have nothing. Versus an unknown legendary that could be good or could be bad. In that case, it was pretty bad. But you're still gonna... Oh, okay. Take out N'Zoth. Life's... Oh, wow. Hanging on by a thread. You could do this, you could do that. Oh, that was actually retarded. I should have hit her in the face and then hit it with the Juggernaut. So many mistakes. Fuck. And this is the type of game where those could cost you, because you at least destroy all minions and all What the fuck? What is that card? That ruined so many things. What? Oh, that's cool. So it just shuts down, like, so half the decks in existence, but he at least got it late. The bombs are already planted. The damage is done. Just do it. Just put her out of her misery, dude. There it is. That was still harder than you would have thought, but that card is annoying as hell. Just remove from wherever they are, so all the work I put in copying it or flipping it is undone, just like that. That's what it took to get to Bronze 6. It would take another 100 episodes to get to anything. Like, let me see. Silver, gold, platinum, diamond, legend. Holy shit. Platinum and diamond are the ones that are going to be really competitive, but that's assuming you're even using a good deck to begin with.